I was currently a victim by Bochum Pompey of human trafficking on the 18th of October 2017 when I was wrongfully charged and framed with a name that doesn't belong to me and take to court for not having proper plates and vehicle, which I'm an indigenous descendants of Island Uromi, which the corporation called St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it's my right to declare my sovereignty and to be and do what I choose to be. And it's my God-given right to convey my convoy, which they call a car, and they don't have no jurisdiction over me. But I was taken to the court and forcefully put into a psychiatric institution when I declare my indigenous right as a deterrent by Bochum Pompey to try to stop me from fighting for my right. Also, when he didn't succeed in that and the people at the facility realized that this was unfair and I get out of that situation, he still think he should put this to a trial, right? So I had to contact the international committee and contact all of my other indigenous groups to come and defend me on the 10th of January coming here, 2018, where he set so-called trial date to try and charge an indigenous man in his own island, which is completely illegal and fraud. And there is no law that would give you rights over indigenous people. I am sovereignty. I am not a Vincentian. I am not part of the corporation. It's completely illegal what they are doing. But he thinks that he can get away with it. So I had to go to the higher level and hire a human rights lawyer and contact United Nations and make this a serious complaint because they're thinking that in the Caribbean they can get away with all these violations that they're doing. So on the 10th of January, I have to go back to court to defend my indigenous rights for my own right. How can you enter someone's house, kidnap them and force them to do something against their will? That is illegal. That is also kidnap, that is extortion, and that is human trafficking. Well, that is this procedure that this judge is trying to do to me in my own island as an indigenous descendant, a Moabite. This is my right and my privilege to be what I have to be. I am not under no government, no state, such as St. Vincent and the Grenadines Corporation. You don't have jurisdiction over me. What you're doing is completely illegal. And it must be stopped. So on the 10th of January, I'm taking my entourage, lots of my indigenous brothers and sisters. I'm trying to take news too, so this could be public. And that's why I put this on Facebook and YouTube for everybody to see. And I already contact United Nations about the violation that is going on in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, not only against me, but against other indigenous descendants. And we're not getting back our lands and our resources the way it's supposed to be. We're currently fighting with the government. Ralph Gonsalve has take out the indigenous artifacts from the Argyle and build an international airport and not even put it in a museum in the country, but take it out of the country, which is a real violation, human rights violation. And they tend to think that they could make law as they go. This guy, Bochum Pompey, so-called magistrate, you know, it's completely illegal. Because if I am not a Vincentian and I am not part of your corporation, you don't have jurisdiction over me. You can't tell me what can I do. It's my God-given right to drive my convoy wherever I choose to go for my conveyance. You can't tell me I can't drive my convoy and I need license. I don't pay no tax. I'm indigenous. You can't come into indigenous people and dictate their life and tell them what to do and what not to do. What are you, crazy man? This is the kind of wickedness that is going on. So I send this social media so that the world would see that on the 10th of January, I'm going to fight for my indigenous rights and my human rights. Okay, and I have my declaration that I declare on papers for these people to see and recognize my indigenous rights. Every single thing from a Moabite declaration. And they're still trying to be ignorant, you know, and wicked. And for a judge or a magistrate called Bochum Pompey, when you look at this guy, I'd ask him if he's not the same complexion as mine, if his ancestors never suffered the same genocide fate as I suffer. And why are he not looking to have some remorse for his ancestors? He doesn't care, which means he actually loved slavery that took place. And he's glad that he was a victim of genocide. And still promoting the same slave system that exists today in the form of forced denationalization, where they take your resources and rename it and create a corporation which is called government and state. And I'm being indigenous, fighting for my rights, being violated, by a judge or a magistrate called Bertram Pompey and these crooked so-called officers of the law, which are very wicked and corrupt. But they're not going to get away with this, because coming on the 10th, I have an entourage and I have an indigenous human rights lawyer who's supposed to be